Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our presentation. Today, we will talk about the type of assessment. The first is essay test, and the second is matching task. In the session, we will see what they are, how they work, and their limitation and advantages, and how teacher can use them effectively in class to measure students' learning. Okay, in this part, I will introduce the main focus of our presentation. We are going to analyze two types of assessment tools. The first is essay test, and the second is matching task. Essay tests are designed to measure students' higher order thinking skill. They help teachers to see how well students can organize ideas and express their understanding in written form. Meanwhile, matching tasks are used to measure factual recognition and how students connect related to the concept. This type of test focus more on accuracy and recall of information. These two tests serve different purposes and are applied in different classroom contexts. Next. Now is the first is essay test. Essay tests are used to measure how well students can organize and express their ideas in writing. Instead of choosing from given option like multiple choice question, students have to create their own answer based on what they have learned. Essay tests have several characteristics. The first is they require students to write detail and to answer in their own word. Second, they measure how students organize their thought and concept ideas logically. Third, essay test gives students the chance to express opinion and show creativity. And lastly, they represent real life tasks because in real life, people often need to explain or justify ideas in writing. For the main purpose of essay test is to measure student critical thinking and reasoning skill. They also help teachers to evaluate how students can combine and evaluate information, express their opinion and present knowledge in a clear, logical way. So, essay tests are an authentic form of assessment because they simulate real-world situation, what people must organize and communicate their ideas effectively. Essay tests have advantages and limitations. The first is easier to construct than multiple choice tests, develop expressive writing skill, measure higher order thinking skill, encourage deeper study approaches, and allow students to demonstrate originally. Meanwhile, for the limitation is limited content coverage, time consuming to grade, subjective scoring with lower reliability, favor students with strong writing skills, and innovation for assessing basic factual knowledge. Essay tests are easy to make and help users student to writing and higher order thinking skills. They are also encourage deeper learning and creativity. But however, they take longer to grade, cover less material, and scoring can be subjective. That's why teachers need to balance essay tests with other type of assessment.
Next is types of essay questions. Essay questions can be grouped by response format and scoring type. Extend response questions let students give longer. More details, while restricted response question limit the scope of the answer. In scoring, objective essay have clear right answer, while non-objective essay depend more on the student opinion. Common comment words include why, explain, describe, compare, relate, prove, and calculate. The next is guideline for designing essay questions. When designing essay test, we first set indicator, scoring, answer key, and rubrics. Each question must clearly follow its indicator and use the right comment. It's also important to prepare the scoring rubrics before the test, so grading stays consistent and fair for all students. The next is scoring essay test. To make scoring essay test reliable, teacher should use clear criteria or answer key and score each question separately. It's also good to hide student names and ask another teacher to review sample answer. There are two main scoring methods, analytic, which give point for each part, and holistic, which score the overall quality. Using this method help keep grading consistent and fair.
Okay, thank you, Revi. Now let's move on to the second format assessment in this video. It is matching task. So it presents matching task presents to column the premises, stimuli. On the left, usually it is the question, and our responses on the right that serves that could be the possible answer. Student must match each premises with the correct responses. It is exceptionally effective for assessing knowledge at recall and knowledge level, as you can see, and also appropriate for subjects with many facts like history, like events, dates, names, places, and subjects like science that has many experiments, terms, and definition. Types of matching, as you can see here, there's terms with definition, phrases with other phrases, causes with effects, parts with larger units, problems, and with solution. These are one of the many matching types of the matching task. Next, why do we need to use matching task? It is highlighted here. The advantages and disadvantages. Advantages is maximum. The first one is maximum contents coverage between all space and preparation time. It is valuable for contents areas with many facts. It reduces guessing compared to multiple choice for the students, and relatively easy and objective to score. But there's also disadvantages. There is time consuming for students because sometimes they may second guess, may not be appropriate for higher order learning levels, limited to measure by recognition and recall. Yeah, student may just memorize it without actually recalling anything. Yeah, may measure memorization rather than understanding, as I said. And then this is one of the example from the book. Column A is the books, stories, the names. This is the names of the books. While on the left side, the column B is the name of the animals that is presented in this book. So they need to match this. Okay. Next is how to make a good matching test. This is the guidelines. You can see there's important principles that we need to follow. Clear direction, because clear direction is needed. Explain the basis matching, whether response can be used once or more than once or twice. Because, for example, if you just match the following, it's sometimes just lame and ambiguous. The second one is homogeneous contents. Use only items that share the same information base. For example, names with names, terms with terms, years with years. Because sometimes if you see this a related topic in the same matching task, sometimes confuses them. Then yeah, so it's also something consider or perhaps making it easy for the students. Concise item limit. You need to limit the stimuli list from usually it's 5 to 10 or 10 to 15, because too many stimuli could overwhelm the students. The fourth one is logical column structure. Longer premises usually on the right, shorter one as the responses. The column B is on the right. Longer premises on the left and shorter answers from the right. While average responses is arrange responses systematically, so yeah, alphabetically and chronologically, and then use numbers for premises and capital letters uppercase for the responses. So yeah, the stimuli or the question is using numbers, while the adjustment is using this alphabetical order A, B, C, D. And then yeah, make sure you avoid clues, ensure non-grammatical relevant clues. Also, this is connected to the homogeneous content, because if you didn't use the same information, they could actually tell the differences. So yeah, that's give it away. And then make sure the matching task is on a single page, so it didn't confuse the student. Because if it's got split, maybe yeah, they might have to move pages to pages to just confirm it. This is example of good direction. On the line to the left of each location characteristic, blah 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 blah. In column I, right letter country in column 2, and define each country, blah 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 blah. Maybe sure for that notes. Yep, this one common mistake halfway too. And then next, how advanced application of matching tasks. As you can see, variation for harder acting skill. Although typically that measuring factual knowledge, variation can be constructed for high-level thinking level. But how? The first one, we use key lists or master lists. Use complex data tables for chemicals property examples, and ask multiple question requiring data analysis to find matches. So yeah, they didn't ask to match, they asked to interpret the data, the tables. Second one is ranking. This one is ask students to number events. For example, if it's events in chronological order of steps, and then combination with multiple choice. This one is a bit complicated because yeah, multiple choice question can be used as premises for matching items. So a student must answer the MCQ first, and then they could continue with the matching task. For example, this one is one of the components is blah 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 blah, and then blank. This is the correct answer. A correct answer. B structure. C option. And D stem. So a student must match definition with the correct components. Lastly, the comparison and conclusion between this format type of test. Essay test purpose is to test student high order thinking, written expression, and idea organization, while matching test test the fact and concept, fact recognition, concept and knowledge and recall. For cognitive level, essay level uses application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation, while matching test only at knowledge and comprehension level. Essay test is relatively easy to construct. You can use words such as analyze, applicate, synthesis, evaluate, blah 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 blah, and then why, what, as you know it. While matching test requires careful planning because yeah, you need to make sure the stimuli and responses are valid and reliable. And then for scoring, essay test is difficult and time consuming because you need scoring rubric, and yeah, students' answer may be varied. While matching task is easy and quick because already planned, so it's highly objective, as you can see. And then lastly, objectivity. Essay test, as I said, it's slow and subjective because the answer is varied, and matching test is high objective because already planned, so yeah, it is just spot on. This is the general principle for both. It's clarity in question and instruction, alignment with learning objectives, scoring planning before test administration, appropriate difficulty level. In conclusion, you need to select format based on the learning objectives. So yeah, use combination of formats for comprehensive assessment, carefully plan and construct assessment tools, and yeah, use rubrics to improve scoring and reliability even for matching tasks too. And yeah, that's from our presentation. Thank you for listening. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.